I need a volunteer to read our ICANN statement on page 267. Ready? Okay, so I had divided a whole number by a unit fraction or a unit fraction by a whole number using related multiplication. Well, what does that sound like? Sounds like multiplication. Okay. So what's the opposite of multiplication?
Division.
What's the opposite of division? Okay. So you did fact families, I'm sure, in 2nd and 3rd grade, right? If I have 6 times 7 equals 42, it's saying I can relate multiplication to division. So how can I write a division problem, and this is a terrible color. How can I write a division problem that relates to this multiplication? Yes. Ask them.
42 divided by 7.
42 divided by 7 equals 6. Or what else did I do? 42 divided by 6 equals 7. Okay? So that's how we relate multiplication problems and division problems. So now what are we going to do? We're going to do the exact same thing except using
Multiplication.
fractions, right? So we're taking and we're saying we're going to look at fact families and relate them. Okay? All right. Josiah buys 6 packages of ground beef. How many 1/4 pound hamburgers can Josiah make from the 6 packages? Now, again, we've got to be really careful about what is being divided and how many groups are it's being divided into. I think that's where most of you went wrong on the test, is you didn't understand that concept. You've got to know what's being divided up. So what in this problem is being divided up? 6 packages of ground beef is being divided up into how many groups? Into 1/4 group. So what comes first in our sentence?
6.
No. 6 divided by 1/4. Okay? So it says, Hoffman began solving this problem by using a visual fraction model. How can you complete the model to use it to solve the problem? So he has 1 that's divided into 4. So how can we complete this problem? Nope, we started with a rectangle, so we got to continue with rectangles. Is there a rectangle? Yep, there's a rectangle in yours. What do we got to do?
Make 5 more.
Because this one is what? 1 whole. How many do we need to model? 6 wholes. Good. Okay, then what do we need to do with each of those? Put each of them into 4s. Good. Okay, so 6 divided by 4 equals what? Or sorry, not 6 divided by 4. 6 divided by 1/4 equals what? 24. Okay. Now we spent the whole last module modeling, right? How many feel like they could model this and they understand why 6 divided by 1/4 equals 24? Okay? How many feel like, okay, I understand the concept, now let's learn the algorithm? You don't want to? Oh, 1 does. Okay? Because why? Why does 6 divided by 24 or 1/4 equal 24? Well, this is the why. Now I'm going to teach you the How do you do it? Right? Without having to draw out every picture. Okay, so when we divide fractions, remember, fractions are unique. They all seem to have their own rules for how we add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Okay? When we add and subtract fractions, what do we need to do? Nope, we don't need to line them up. That's decimals. When we add and subtract fractions, what's the first thing we need to do? Find a common denominator, right? Okay? When we multiply fractions, what did we need to do? Okay, put the whole number over one and multiply straight across. Okay? Different rules, right? When we divide by fractions, we do something completely different. Okay? We call it invert and multiply. Well, what does it mean to invert? Anybody know the definition of invert? It means flip it upside down. Okay? So, we're going to leave the first number alone. We only invert what we're dividing by. So what does it mean to invert? Flip it upside down. So if I flip up 1/4 upside down, what am I going to do? 4 over 1. Invert and multiply. Now what am I going to do? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to multiply it. Now what? Well, first I got to put
6 over 1.
6 over 1.
6
Multiply straight across. 6 times 4 equals?
24.
24. 1 times 1 equals?
1.
And anything over 1 is? Itself. Now, do you see why I make sure that you understand how to model it? Because this would seem completely crazy to do to not know why in the world we're doing that. So why in the world are we doing that? Okay, to make it so we don't have to draw it out. But do you see how many of you saw that pattern? You just started timing 6 times 4. Yeah, because aren't we taking 6 holes and each hole has 4? So what are we going to do to find out how many holes we have?
6 times 4.
6 times 4. Okay? All right. Let's see. Turn the page. Says Josiah has 3 pounds of potato salad for takeout. He divides the potato salad into 1/4 pound servings. How many 1/4 pound servings does Josiah have? Okay? It says write an equation to model the situation. So what's the first thing we ask? What is being divided up? 3 pounds of potato salad. What is it being divided up into?
1/4 pound.
So what's our equation? Good. Could we model that?
Yes.
How would we do it? What did it look like?
3
Yeah, 3 coals split into 4 pieces, right? Okay. But if there's something that Mrs. Brinkman, she does something dot flip. Dot flip or something like that. I don't know. I like to say we invert and multiply. Okay? So what do? We leave 3 alone. We don't do the only one that we're doing anything to is the thing that we're dividing by. So we leave 3 alone because we're not changing the 3 packages, right? We're not changing the 3 pounds of hamburger. If I change the 3 pounds of hamburger and I inverted it, what do I have now? Don't I have this? And now I have this much instead of that much? Yeah, we don't change the whole number. Okay, we do not change the first number. Oops. Okay. So we invert and multiply. Which one am I going to invert and multiply?
1/4.
1/4. What if I flip it over? What does it become?
4 ones.
4 over 1. I invert and multiply. Okay, now what do?
Put 3 over 1.
Yep, 3 over 1. Throw this out so you don't think it is. Okay, now what? Multiply straight across. 3 times 4 is? 12. 1 times 1 is?
1.
So 3/4 divided by 1/4 equals 12. So, how many rectangles? Let's see. Well, how many 1/4 pound servings do we have? 12. Good. Now it says, how can you use them on EF? How can you use a multiplication equation to represent your visual fraction model? So how am I going to make a multiplication for this? What did we do? 3 times 4 equals 12. There's my multiplication. Okay? All right, look at page 269. At Josiah's cookout, 4 friends share 1/3 of a watermelon equally. What fraction of the whole watermelon does each friend get? Okay, the first thing you should be thinking is, what is being divided up? 1/3 of the watermelon. So what comes first in our equation? 1/3. Divided by how many people are sharing the 1/3 of watermelon? 4 people. So what's our equation? Okay, now since this is we're starting with a fraction, we need to model it first. Okay, so how am I going to model this? Cut what into thirds? Cut 1 whole, right? We don't have more than 1 whole. We only have a 1/3. So we're going to cut it into thirds. Yeah. And I'm going to make sure I do it in a highlighter color so that we... Okay, so that is 1/3 of our watermelon, right? How many people are sharing this watermelon? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And each person gets what? 1 of them. So 1/3 divided by 4 equals what? 1/12, because our whole is cut into 12, and each person gets 1 of that piece that we split up. Okay? We okay with modeling? Okay, let's do the algorithm then. What do I do? Invert and multiply. Do I change my 1/3? No. No, this doesn't change. We still have 1/3 pieces of the watermelon. What do I invert?
4.
The 4. How do I flip that upside down? Like this? Let's see. See if I can do it. How would that look? Oh, it looks like this. Is that what I do? Ah, so I could make this a fraction already, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's flip it over. What's it going to become? 1/4. I invert and multiply. Okay, now what do? 1 times 1 is? 3 times 4 is?
12.
Oh, same answer? Same answer. Okay. So look at B on that one. What related multiplication equation can you write to represent the problem? There it is, right there. Yeah. There's our related multiplication problem. Right there. Okay. All right, look at check understanding. Josiah serves 1/2 pound of macaroni salad equally to 6 guests. What fraction of a pound does each guest get? Our instruction says represent the situation with a visual model, then write a division equation and a related multiplication equation. Okay? So, what's the first thing we're going to do? What is being divided up? Half a pound of macaroni. That comes first. Okay? What's it being divided amongst?
6.
6 guests. So 1/2 divided by 6 equals,
1.
well, okay, we'll figure that out. It says to draw a visual model. I want you to draw a visual model down below to the side. 1/2 divided by 6. Put 1/2. And then divide that into 6. 6 pieces. Good. I'm glad to see some of you are high shading, but then really coloring in that top left square. Okay, looks good. What are we going to start with? 1 whole. How are we going to do that 1 whole? Cutting it into half. So what are we looking at?
That 1/2.
That 1/2. And what do we do? 2, 3, 4, 5. And each per guest gets
1.
1. Okay, so what's our whole cut into now?
12.
12. And each person gets
1.
1. Okay, let's look at the related multiplication. What's the rule? Invert and multiply. So what do I start with? 1/2. Ooh. Oh, that's terrible too. Okay, which one am I going to invert?
6.
The 6. So how can I invert that? Good. Put it over 1, and now I can flip it over, right? So what is 6 as an inverted fraction? 1/6. Invert and multiply. 1 times 1 is
1.
2 times 6 is
12.
So what's my related multiplication? Good. 1/2 times 1/6 equals 1/12. Okay, look at number 2 on your own. The container of milk is divided equally into 8 glasses. How much milk should be poured into each glass? So the only number I see is 8. So how many of you would put 8 as the first thing we're going to divide? Ooh, I'm glad. Because what are we dividing up? The 1/2 gallon of milk. So that comes first. And we're dividing it into how many containers? 8. Good. Okay. Now, shall we draw a model or shall we just do the algorithm? Ooh, see how many of you liked the algorithm, but see how many needed to understand? Okay. So, do I do anything to 1/2?
No.
Okay. And I invert and multiply. So, how am I going to invert 8? Okay. So, flip it over. And I multiply. So, 1 times 1 is?
1.
2 times 8 is?
16.
So, how much milk should be poured into each glass? 1/16 of a gallon. Good. No, because the whole thing's a gallon, but we only started with the 1/2 gallon. Okay, now look at number 3. You need to make sure you know how to do this because this is on your assignment. 8 divided by 1/12 equals 9. N. What does N represent? A number. An unknown number, right? That's our variable. And a variable just means it's an unknown number. Can we solve for n? Yes. It says divide and then write a related multiplication equation to solve. Okay? So, what are we going to do? Put 8 over 1.
Invert.
Do I need to put 8 over 1? Am I inverting 8?
No.
Which number am I inverting? The one that's being divided, what it's being divided by. Okay? So, 8. And we invert and multiply. So what's going to be inverted?
112.
112. What's it going to be inverted to?
12 over
12 over 1. We invert and
1.
multiply. Now I can put that there if I need to see it. Right? Okay? 8 times 12 equals?
96.
1 times 1 equals?
1.
1. So what is the related multiplication equation? 8 times 12 equals 96. Okay, so n equals 96. Okay, so you should have n equals 96 and 8 times 12 equals 96. That's related. Okay? All right, I want you to do number 2. You need to show me a related multiplication fact and you need to show me what n equals. Go. Our number, yeah, 4, sorry. Okay, so what does n equal? I need to see what n equals. All right, n equals this. Okay, now I need to see a related multiplication fact. So what's the multiplication equation? Okay, we need a multiplication. What times what? Here's the 32. Good. Okay, what's the related multiplication? Write me a multiplication sentence. Same with you. Oh. Which one did you invert? Which one do we invert? We always invert the second number. Don't ever invert the first one. Okay, what's your multiplication sentence? Okay, you can circle. Circle what your multiplication sentence is, guys. Okay, do we invert the first number? We never invert the first number. So what does it need to be? Which one are we going to flip over? Yep. Hey, guys, never flip over the first number. Never. Flip over the first one, never. Right? I saw about 3 of you doing it. So we have 4 divided by 1/8. Invert and multiply. What do we leave alone? 4. Which one do I invert? 1/8. What does it become? 8 over 1. Invert and multiply. What do you want? 4 over 1. Okay. 4 times 8 is? Over 1. So n equals 32. What's my related multiplication fact? 4 times 8 equals 32. Okay? Never invert the first number. Okay? Don't ever invert the first number. No matter if it's a whole number or a fraction, don't invert it. It's always what's being divided by. Okay. All right, Vista 5 on how you're feeling about this. There you got 4s and 5s. All right. Hey, there are new groups today. There are new groups, so you need to make sure you know which group you're in. Okay?